We can now sculpt in really fine details which we would never have been able to before in standard 3D package like 3ds Max. So to import your block out, hit import at the top right and then select the .fbx file you created. It is now shown in your subtool menu, which is where all of your assets will be found. Now with your asset selected, you just want to drag it out onto the canvas and then hit edit. Now your asset is ready to be sculpted on. Using the zoom tool, I'm just going to zoom in our canvas so you can see more of it. Now under materials, we're going to change it from the default to matte cap grey, which is easier on the eyes. We're then going to document and we adjust these sliders to give us a solid background instead of gradient. Okay, now that we've done those quality of life fixes, we can now go into adjusting the actual asset. So if you select draw polyframe, it will show you the topology of your asset. Now, as you can see, if you try to drag some of the topology out, it doesn't really deform how you want it to due to topology. So we need to go about fixing that. Okay, to adjust the topology, you want to go into geometry, zero mesher, and then you can adjust some settings, but I'm going to click same to keep the same amount and then hit zero mesh. So as you can see, this gave us nicer topology to work with, which is mainly quads. You can now sculpt on top of this easily. Now, once the topology is sorted out, you're going to want to split the high density polygon areas from the low density polygon areas. So we're going to mask out our areas, so you want to hold control, and then you can select which mask brush you want. I use mask lasso. You're then going to want to hit X for symmetry, and now just mask out a hand. You're then going to want to control I to invert that. So now once that's masked out, you're going to go into subtool, then at the bottom, go to split. Now you'll notice split to unmasked points or masked points are both grayed out. So you need to go to geometry and then delete the lower subdivision levels. And now if you go back to split, you can select which one you prefer. So now your hands and your body are separate, but you'll notice there's holes in your asset. To fix these, just go to geometry, modify topology, and hit close holes. Do this for everything that you find holes in. Now, because we split the hands from the body, we can divide the hands more without dividing the body. So you can get more dense topology in the hands if you wanted more detail there, whilst keeping the body separate. Now, if you create your hands using separate objects in 3ds Max, here's what you need to do. As we can see from the fingers, any additional details which weren't attached to the main body's topology will not be attached in ZBrush. In order to merge these objects onto the base topology, we have to go to Dynamesh. As you'll notice, the fingers merge together. So what you want to do is you want to undo that and increase the resolution to a point where it gives you good results. Alternatively, instead of undoing, you can just create a mask anywhere that's not on your object and it will re-Dynamesh with the new settings. Now once this is done, you'll notice the topology is so dense. So you want to smooth out the areas which you've joined and then zero mesh in order to get topology which you can work with and adjust easily. So now I'm just masking out the head, which is another high density polygon area. So I'm going to follow the exact same steps I did before. And you basically want to repeat this for all the elements that you want separate, or if you want different densities on different pieces of your asset. Now you may notice some issues in your asset, which if they can't be smoothed out, you can mask the artifacts and then go to visibility, hide, to hide the area. And then go to geometry, modify topology, delete hidden to remove the area, and then close holes. Then just smooth these areas out to get them how you like them. Now if you select the subtool and then hit solo mode, that lets you work on just one subtool at a time. And if you hit the expose tool, it will let you separate all of your subtools into easy to see elements. Basically, all you're going to need to use is clay build-up and move topology in order to get the base shapes of your face, such as the eyes, nose, mouth, and ears. You can then use the damn standard brush to create smaller details, such as wrinkles and any creases or deformations in the skin. The main process right now is just blocking out some shapes and getting some key details in there. Right now I'm just landmarking where I think the eyes, nose, and mouth should be with the ears. So because I don't like the overall shape of the face, I'm going to use the Move Topological brush to try and fix this. So using the Alt key, I can subtract from areas. So I'm using clay build-up, subtracted, in order to try and dig into the skin to try and give some form of jawline. And at this point, it's just tweaking all the fine details of your face, try to get the main shapes in place, try to get the shape of the face looking as good as possible before we move on to the next step, which would be refining the details. Now, if you'll notice, I'm using short strokes and I'm layering them on top of each other, and that just gives you more build up and it gives you more dynamic strokes. I'm using mouse and keyboard, but if you had a tablet, that'd be a much better choice. Okay, so here's an example of where you can use Dam Standard. Dam Standard digs into the skin and basically creates nice folds around it so you can get nice wrinkles, nostril shapes, lips, anything of that nature. So to create eyes, you want to then go to Subtool, Insert, and add a sphere. These will fit into the eye socket, which makes the eyes more realistic as you can deform the eyelids to fit the eyes. Now to move this, you just want to hit the move tool at the top, and then you can have a gizmo which can scale, rotate, and translate. Just get this in place as best as you can. So now that that's in place, you want to mirror it so it's in the other eye socket as well. So for this, you want to go to Geometry, Modify Topology, Mirror and Weld. Make sure this is along the x-axis. For the eyelids, all you would need to do is extrude the area above and below the eyeball. My choice for doing this is using the masking pen and masking a strip from the top and the bottom. I would then move those polygons, followed by zero meshing. The beauty of ZBrush is that you can do this any number of ways. I chose this way, but you can also clay build up, or insert new objects to act as eyelids if you want a more stylized approach. But either way, no matter how rough they look now, they'll be refined down the line. Now if your eyelids are too far apart, you can try to move topology them to get them close together, but I prefer to use a brush called Pinch. Another useful brush for the eyelids is the inflate brush. This will allow you to get thicker eyelids and generally pop the eyelids out more for a more natural look. I then go on to use Damp Standard on a low intensity to mark out the eyebrow line, as well as solidify the boundary of the nose. For a quick and simple ear, we're going to use the tools we already now know, by using the mask pen to make a generic ear shape on the head and extruding it using W and dragging outward. We then want to tilt this outward slightly and zero mesh to clean up the topology. After this, you can use Dam Standard to add in fine details and to create the line which separates the ear from the head. Okay, so if you didn't have symmetry on, you'd only have one ear, but you want to mirror the ears. So you follow the same method as the eyes, however first you want to mask out the ear and split it from the head to make it its own subtool. Now again, make sure you close holes. So once the ears are shaped and in place how you want them, you'd want to move the head above the ears, and then you can go to merge and just merge down. This will attach both subtools. In order to move subtools, use Control and the arrow keys. So because the ears and the head were separate elements that you merged, you're now going to want to Dynamesh to merge the topologies together. Again, you're going to want to use a high resolution. This is probably more important now than it was with the fingers because you have detail in here that you're going to want to keep. Now you're going to want to clean up any seams or artifacts. Now I'm going to give you a basic rundown on how to do hair. Now this isn't fiber mesh hair, this isn't individual hair strands, this is just a general stylized kind of approach, and it'll give you good results depending on how much time you invest on it. So for the hair, we start by inserting a sphere again and placing it on top of the head. Shape it to fit only slightly above the top of the head and the width of the entire head. We can then select the snake hook brush, which lets you pull out topology from areas and create very organic looking shapes. So you're going to want to move the hair subtool to the layer above your head by using Control and the arrow keys to move subtools. So if we hold the Alt key, we can lock the snake hook brush to the subtool below the hair subtool. So essentially it will extrude topology on the head below. As well as that useful function, we can just use the snake hook tool in general to pull out areas and give us flowing hair. Now very quickly you can see how dragging out these polygons ruins the topology, and therefore you're going to want to keep in mind to start remeshing this as you go. So here I'm just adding some small details to the hair. And now to add the head texture, you want to use the rake tool. Make sure you keep it on low intensity, just like dam standard, and just slide it across the hair. This will give you nice detailing.